OpenAI's new models hallucinate more, and no one knows why. Former Palantir employees take a rare step condemning work with the Trump administration in a public letter. And will Trump's green energy crackdown threaten AI data center growth? Welcome to #Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. OpenAI's latest AI models, touted for their enhanced reasoning capabilities, are exhibiting a troubling increase in hallucinations, instances where the AI generates false or nonsensical information. Despite internal testing revealing these issues, the underlying causes remain elusive, raising concerns about the reliability of advanced AI systems. OpenAI's internal evaluations have shown that their new reasoning models, O3 and O4 Mini, hallucinate more frequently than their predecessors. For example, the O3 model produced hallucinations in response to 33% of the questions on the Person QA benchmark, a significant rise from the 16% and 14.8% rates observed in earlier models O1 and O3 Mini. The O4 Mini model fared even worse, with 48% hallucination rate on the same benchmark. These findings are particularly concerning given that these models are designed to handle complex reasoning tasks. The increase in hallucinations is paradoxical, as these models also demonstrate improved performance in areas like coding and mathematics. The company acknowledges that more research is needed to understand why hallucinations are becoming more prevalent as the model's reasoning abilities improve. But understanding this may prove to be a difficult task. As Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei has pointed out, we really don't understand what is happening inside AI models, and the work to do that is still in its infancy. To date, Anthropic has been the one company to focus on this type of understanding, but their work is still in the early stages. Anthropic has called on all of the other major AI companies to increase and share their work in this area. The challenge in advancing AI capabilities without compromising reliability is a huge one. As AI systems become more integrated into critical applications, the need for transparency and robust safeguards against misinformation becomes paramount. The phenomena also highlights the importance of ongoing research to understand and mitigate the unintended consequences of AI advancements. Now, as an editorial note, and as someone who uses AI regularly and is actively following this, we shouldn't blow these out of proportion. I accept the research, but my own findings don't show the level of inaccuracy that the report suggests. I have observed problems recently with OpenAI in particular, and in particular when it comes to search capabilities. But like many people who use AI for many purposes, including deep research, I never count on one AI when the accuracy of the research is an issue. I will first ask the AI to check its own work, name its sources, often ask if it will do a word-for-word check if it presents me with a quote, and I use two AI models, one to do the basic research and the other to check the research. And finally, just a reminder, these tools are there to extend what we can do, to help us find things, to help us edit, to do those tasks that are repetitive and sometimes meaningless. But especially in the early days of AI, and we are still in the early days, they don't relieve us of the responsibility to check the results and think critically about what AI presents us with. 13 former employees of Palantir, a company about which little is known, but which has become a huge part of the new U.S. administration, are speaking out against the company's growing role in U.S. immigration enforcement, accusing the firm of abandoning ethical principles in its partnership with the Trump administration. The group of ex-Palantir workers has issued a public letter condemning the data analytics firm's work with the Trump administration, specifically its $30 million deal with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, to provide near real-time tracking of migrants in the U.S. The signatories, former engineers, managers, and members of Palantir's own privacy and civil liberties team, say the company's recent moves violate the ethical foundations it once promoted. These principles have now been violated and are rapidly being dismantled at Palantir Technologies and across Silicon Valley, the letter states, as shared exclusively with NPR. Palantir, co-founded by Trump ally Peter Thiel, provides data analysis tools used by the military, law enforcement, and intelligence agencies around the world. The ICE contract is part of the administration's push to deport 1 million people in 2025. The work Palantir has been doing and its growing influence since Trump's election has caused Palantir's share price to surge more than 200%, bringing its market valuation to nearly $300 billion. The letter also criticizes what the former employees call increasingly violent rhetoric from Palantir CEO Alex Karp, referencing his past remarks about critics and his open endorsement of using the company's software to kill enemies. It warns that tech tools developed for civilian use are now enabling government policies that undermine democratic values, including surveillance of immigrants and erosion of civil liberties. The signatories also take aim at the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, a Trump-era initiative led by Elon Musk. They accuse DOGE of hiring ex-Palantir staff to help dismantle federal programs, particularly those focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. While only 13 individuals signed the letter out of Palantir's 4,000 employees, it's a rare example of public dissent from within a company known for secrecy and strict non-disparagement agreements. Most ex-Palantir employees also hold stock, which may also make them less likely to criticize their former employer. But the authors are willing to come forward, claiming that they hope their statement inspires others in the tech industry to speak out while we still can, warning that silence may help normalize authoritarianism under the guise of innovation. And yesterday we covered a story about the tremendous growth that is expected in terms of data center development, largely to serve the growing needs of AI, but also to deal with the general growth needed to support cloud computing and SaaS applications. Even the most pessimistic growth projections still require a huge increase in capacity, and one of the key limiting factors for that growth will be the availability of enough reliable power. And to the extent that there's concern about greenhouse gas emissions, the availability of sustainable power solutions may also be a threat to growth. President Trump's aggressive rollback of renewable energy initiatives is raising alarms in the data center industry, which warn that the move could stall U.S. progress in artificial intelligence by choking off access to affordable, scalable power that these facilities depend on. Since returning to office, Trump has suspended clean energy projects on federal land, canceled initiatives like the $5 billion Empire Wind project, and supported fossil fuel use for powering AI infrastructure. Experts warn that this approach may lead to energy shortages, increased costs, and reliance on high-emission power sources, potentially stalling data center expansions. In April, Trump signed an executive order designating coal a critical mineral and directing federal agencies to explore coal-powered infrastructure for AI data centers. The order also seeks to delay the retirement of older coal plants and promote coal technology exports. Industry leaders are voicing concerns. Simon Ninan, senior vice president at Hitachi Vantara, stated that the administration's antagonistic approach towards renewable energy could make it impossible to satisfy the data growth that's happening. Nick Hertlein of Stonepeak noted that if the U.S. AI development is a priority, policymakers need to find ways to accommodate the data centers industry's growth. At a recent House Energy and Commerce Committee hearing, former Google CEO Eric Schmidt emphasized the urgent need for increased energy production to sustain the U.S. AI arms race against China. He stated, "We need energy in all forms, renewable, non-renewable, whatever it takes. It needs to be there, and it needs to be there quickly." So the U.S. risks losing its AI edge to countries like China, which is actively modernizing its power grid to support digital expansion. At a minimum, data centers are expected to add 83.7 gigawatts of energy demand by 2030, the equivalent of adding a new state the size of Texas. Without access to renewable energy, the industry may face energy shortages, increased costs, and reliance on higher emission power sources. And that's our show. Love to hear your comments. You can reach me at editorial@technewsday.ca or on LinkedIn, or if you're watching this on YouTube, just drop a comment under the video. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a wonderful Wednesday.